I usually let Aaron be the angry one. Why? Because he's funnier at it, not me. I just get angry and I go, and I tell people the way it is. So this is our first on this channel, Volcano Me. So, what's biting the inside of my shorts, huh? I am very, very disappointed in one of my college football team's programs right now. Okay. And this is a long-term time issue with them, with me. Many, many years ago, in this little sleepy town of University Park, Pennsylvania, bad things happened. And bad things were reported. Bad people were punished, and good people were punished. And innocent people were punished. And that's not right. Part of the innocent people punished was the long time head coach at Penn State, Joseph Pattrick. He got railroaded. He got fired. And because he was sick at the time, he ended up, things happened, compounded, and then he later on passed away. And the school did things that they shouldn't have done because we need to separate ourselves from this, from him. But they didn't have to. Yeah, it was a long-term deal where certain people in power wanted to get rid of him just because. And, ooh, look, we have the perfect excuse. I'm trying not to cuss. Really, I'm trying not to cuss. So, he gets replaced with an interim. And I think there's one guy who does a one-and-done season. Then James Franklin comes in, and, he turns the team around. He gets them going, in a correct path. Now, there's still people out there that hold grudges and whatnot. And yes, admittedly, James Franklin hasn't had opportunity, but he has had some, big games in his resume that coulda, woulda, shoulda went to Penn State, but didn't. So, today is the 19th. So, a week ago today, after their loss to UCLA, and it was like their second in a row, or third in a row, Penn State goes and fires Coach Franklin. Not giving a crap about any damn thing other than you lost to this team, you lost to that team. I'm sorry. But first off, wrong time. There's still a lot of football to be played this year, and you can't predict who's going to win and who's going to lose. Or can you? But I don't think NCAA football is rigged. Is it? So, now, with that said, they fired him, and they're like, because there's probably some other reasons. Most likely, I heard a rumor about Adidas and Nike and shoes and uniforms and all this stuff, and yeah. So, long story short, I'm not happy with it because, like I said, lots of football left. Anything can happen. That's why they play the games. Now, now Penn State has another problem. Yesterday, played football against Iowa in Iowa, and they lost. Because a couple blown plays here and there, a couple missteps. Yeah, there was like in the first half, there was a couple plays that it's like, why didn't you run, boy? There's you threw the ball and yet you could have just ran and got a first down. You could just blow. There was a freeway in front of you, and you decided to airmail it. Now, I'm blaming the interim coach. I'm not blaming the players in yesterday's game. I'm blaming the trustees, the people that went. The AD. Oh, and there's this whole subreddit, I guess, of that, or I should say, conspiracy theory, that the AD wanted Franklin out because he wasn't his guy. He wanted his guy in there, which is another thing that I think is bullshit. The problem with college football is the player's lifespan on a team is finite. It's very short. It can even be shorter. They could get hurt, or they could have something, or they could, through the wind, through the air, through the mist, through the ether, get informed that some other school might give them a bigger, better NIL deal. Name, likeness, image. Or name, likeness, image, or whatever. NIL, whatever. So, now, we have a team that now has 4 losses because a bunch of DDDs and some other DDD decided, hey, let's get rid of them now while they're still playing football and screw with everybody's heads. And like I said, college football players, they're there for a finite time. They chose to go to whatever school for whatever reasons. Because maybe they have a whatever educational track they're on program. Or they're going to they grew up following the football program. Or they got recruited good. A lot of work and energy a head coach puts out is to keeping talent coming to that school. Besides, coaching the team, making sure, the X's and X's and O's and O's match up. So, the Penn State AD just wiped out about 3 years of work. I'm saying Penn State's not going to recover from this for at least 3 years. There's no sanctions. But it's going to be a hard sell on kids. Like, hey, if we screw up, that coach is going to get fired, and I'm going there because of him. If that happens, I'm going to hit the portal as soon as the portal opens, right? Yeah. I want to be here for that, or you're the only school that offers this vocational training or education. Now, yeah, they just went and obliterated a lot of work. Now, what keeps fans in seats at college football, besides the game? The coaches. Because the coaches don't, roll over every, 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. They're there. They're getting paid money. And they're making money. So, do you know why some of the most successful coaches in college Division I football, the Bowl Series football, got their stats? They knew they had to stay put and put the hours in and do the job. Yeah, they gotta do the job. So, you get guys like Bobby Bowden, a bunch of the good old boys down in the SEC, ACC, who pretty much got a hefty pension from coaching college football. Because they built up a cult of personality. People like them. People like winners. And people like having a good time. And that's why Penn State has an enormous elephant in their room. And its name is Joseph Paterno. 40 plus years of coaching, head coaching. It took him 22 seasons of college football from the 1960s to like a year, like 1987, 88, before he had a losing season. It took him 20 plus years before he had a sub 500 season. He won 2 national championships. He lost the ability to vote on a national championship because of his opinion. Bottom line, no matter who you bring in there, they're going to get, whoever comes into Penn State is going to be measured against a GOAT. You're going to be measured and you're going to be held to the standard of a GOAT. That's why, I'm going to say this really kind of off to the side, there's a reason why in NASCAR, everybody who has driven the car number 43 since 1992, they've had high expectations, and every one of them, each and every one of them has failed to do anything remotely to the level of Richard Petty. Because, damn, they're not Richard Petty. Now back to Penn State. Penn State has a problem. They have the elephant in the room, and they have most likely just blown up and destroyed this year's team, and next year's, and the year after's. Plus, this season is now going to be called shit. Because they now have 4 losses, an interim coach who might be getting fired right now. I said this about Boise State when Chris Peterson left. And this is not a dig on any of the coaches who have followed after him. And this is not a dig on any of the coaches who have followed after Joe Paterno at Penn State. But, and this is a message directly to Penn State. You had something good with Coach Franklin. You have to respect what he did. You have to remember the program is got to have an anchor. It's got to have a draw. Something to keep the fans in the system, buying merch, buying tickets, traveling, all that. I'm sorry, but Penn State, you've killed not one, but 2 golden gooses. Because, was it something political? Was it something financial? That so-and-so at some corporate XYZ didn't want somebody there? I don't know. But if you know, you know. And that's on you. what you need is someone that you can and you must entrust in doing their best to win games. You're going to have to entrust them to do what's right. And you're going to have to do this one thing. Well, it's going to be more than one thing. Most importantly, you're going to have to build them up. And you're going to have to make them look good. And you're going to have to make them the draw. College football has always and will always be based on the draw of the coach. Not some flash in the pan guy, not some potential Heisman Trophy candidate, which on a separate thread, I think is a bullshit award. It has no relevance anymore, especially after last year. Heisman, go F thyself. So, here's the next thing. Here's what I'm saying. Whoever comes into Penn State needs to have a long-term contract. Like 10 plus years. Money's not the issue. Money can be made up. But they need to be told, hey, as long as you maintain this level of performance, we're not going to touch you. You're gold. As long as you don't do something stupid and, Bobby Knight some kid or some other bull crap, you're going to be fine. You're not going to be let go. The only thing we're going to let you go for is if you really shit the bed. And that's the way it should be. Now, what I'm saying is, you get that coach, you get him there, you build him up in his little cult of personality, making him the big draw to get the people to come to the games, fill the stadium, becoming one of the largest cities in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and then you put it into the hands of the people that are there to play the game. You go win, lose, or draw. Now, I'm going to point something else out about head coaches. They're very important. Continuity is very important. Right now, there is no continuity at Penn State. They have the playbooks, but coaches are all over the place because they're probably going, am I going to have a job at the end of the year? Am I going to have a job at the end of the season? Am I going to get fired now? Next week? The week after? Or am I going to find out at Christmas time that my services are no longer required? I'm out of job. That ain't good. So, Penn State needs to build up a coach, a coaching staff, and have them there for a long-term deal. Make them a cult of personality, make them the best draw that they have, and then not worry about winning games or winning all the games, because that's never, ever gonna happen. Now, I'm gonna use a very good example. since the NFL AFL merger in 1969, at the conclusion of the Super Bowl number 3, when the NFL merged with the American Football League, and they remapped everybody. They became one Super League. Since then, there has been one and only one team that hasn't had a revolving door for their coaching, for their head coach. And that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since 1969, there has been the following head coaches. Chuck Noll. He won this many Super Bowls. He retired. They got Bill Cowher. He was in 2 Super Bowls. Or no, he was in 1. And he and Chuck Noll are both in the NFL Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Mike Tomlin. He's been in 1 or 2 Super Bowls. I think one of them. Oh, no, yeah, he would have to win 1, 2. Win 1 and I think, yeah. They've won 6 Super Bowls now. Now, why do they have 6 Super Bowls between 3 coaches, 2 of them which are in the Hall of Fame? Because the Rooney's understood and understand a simple fact about every game. And I will explain it to you from a lyric from a song a song that was covered by Kenny Rogers. Every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. You play the game, you win, you lose, you move on. People are complaining about Mike Tomlin not really having a good performance track since he went to the he led them to the Super Bowl last. It happens. It also happens. They need certain players. They needed certain types of players, and I'm disappointed that the Steelers did not play let's make a dope deal with the Raiders. Because I can tell you one thing that I know. The Raiders don't have a playbook or depth in playbook history to pull out plays for Ashton Genty to let him do his thing. So, that's my little bit of baloney. But, no, seriously. I'm not happy with Penn State because they compounded folly on folly. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it because I'm going to be the a-hole in the room. Do you know what? The Chicago Cubs, Cleveland Indians, the Boston Red Sox, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and now Penn State, Nittany Lions football have in common? Someone pissed off an elder god and they got a dang curse. Penn State is cursed because some jabroni decided to take the quickest, unrealistic solution to a problem that they had when they really didn't have a problem, and they fired him. Then they tore down his statue. And then they played all kinds of footsie stuff with everybody else in the world. And meanwhile, he was fighting for his life, and then he succumbed to his illness. I hate to tell you this, kids. Penn State's getting cursed by Joe Paterno. There's no doubt in my mind. Joe Paterno's going, you. Yeah. That's in my mind, man. Penn State, yeah, you need to make things right. And doing so will help you. Appease him? You must. Placate coach. Make his rest even better.